My lords, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to part 3 of the Railway Mania chapter on Railway Empire 2. We've made a very solid start, if I do say so myself. We've got some growth in our northern cities, which is helping count towards this goal right here. Birmingham is also growing, as we can see, which is helping towards this goal, and consequently these two down here. And we also have some decent growth occurring down in London as well, which is going to help towards this task right here. So what next then? Well, we need to make sure our northern cities maintain a decent amount of growth. And the first thing I'm tempted to do is we have two trains on this line here. And if we remember, this one calls at York. We have the warehouse in York that accepts grain and corn, then goes on to Manchester, then back to York, and then on to Liverpool. Rather than having two trains do this entire run, I might remove two of these stations, so we'll have York to Manchester with one train, and then set up a new line, York to Liverpool, with one train. That should keep a better flow between all of the cities and help keep that growth as regular and as sustained as we possibly can. So let's do that straight away. First of all then, this one here, we'll remove the stop at Manchester and at York, so it's doing York to Liverpool Lime Street with one train, and then we'll do the same again but from York to Manchester Piccadilly, and again we'll use one train like that. And that should help balance the goods between these two cities quite nicely. In terms of what sizes these cities are up to, we've got 23,000 in York, 23,000 in Manchester, and 20,000 here in Liverpool. We have sugar coming down to both Birmingham and London, both of which are currently growing. Birmingham is being served by this station here, Wensley Terminal, which is distributing grain into Birmingham as well as distributing grain down into London. However, we do have a grain farm right here as well, so I'd be quite tempted just to get the grain from here for London. And then what we'll do in Wensley Terminal, I think we'd already discussed it previously, but we'll put a warehouse here and then get both fruit and vegetables from East Anglia once we purchase the concession into Wensley Terminal. And then that warehouse can supply both Birmingham with grain, eventually then fruit and veg, and London with fruit and veg, with a view to the grain being sourced from down here instead. So if we want to build a warehouse here, it's going to cost us 126,000, so it's not something we're able to do straight away, but it shouldn't take us too long. In the meantime, both Manchester and Liverpool do have a meat industry, and we do have a cattle ranch at Amiston Fattening just to the north of the two cities. So perhaps a station here that links into Manchester and into Liverpool with two services, one for either city, is not a bad idea either, because that should help stimulate and maintain any city growth as well. So what do we want to take care of first? Well, I think the first thing to do is to get some of this cattle being brought down into those two cities that we just mentioned. So let's give ourselves a station at Amiston Fattening. Let's first of all connect a line to Manchester, and I think we'll come in there. We don't want that bridge, so let's just use a track marker and the height adjustment to remove said bridge. Bring the parallel tracks out, and we will go into a second platform, even though it's something we can't afford immediately. We're only at 90, we need 97 or just under 98,000. But having the second platform and then the gridiron means we can have one train being loaded to Manchester and one train being loaded to Liverpool simultaneously. And that's going to help us get that cattle going as quickly as we possibly can. Let's put our track directions in place then in towards Manchester first of all, and then the station gridiron just before Amiston Station, and then see how we want to fit in this line to Liverpool. So I think we'd come from this sort of area, and again find a place where we can actually connect in, the is that colliding with the supply tower? I think it was. We can, that's a 6% gradient, which is quite steep, but it's nothing too ridiculous. And then we can do something like that. Again with the signals, we'll want supply towers, and I think for the supply towers we're going to place them here and here. That'll mean they're not stopping or getting in the way of their counterpart line while they're getting resupplied. So for 2 supply towers it's going to be 54,000, which we don't have yet, but we can afford one of them, so we may as well get the first one. And then as soon as we can afford the second one, we'll put the second one in position as well. There we go. Okay, that's 800 passengers now transported from Birmingham, and as we can see here, we're 512 passengers away from citizens, I should correct myself, from completing this objective as well, and not too far off this one down here, so far so good. So now we want to get these lines set up, and this might take a while because we're a bit short on money and we need to buy 2 trains. So at Amerson Station, let's have you come from platform number 1, and let's have you go with a minimum of 2 carriages full of cattle. You're going into Manchester Piccadilly, and this is cattle to Manchester. It's a freight only line, and we'll use a G&M American for 56,700 gold pieces. Okay, so that's the train for the Manchester line up and running. Now we'll do the same into Liverpool. You can go on platform 2 with a minimum of 2 carriages, like so. This is cattle to Liverpool, so we'll just quickly rename this as well, holding down the wrong key there. Cattle to Liverpool, again a freight only, G&M American, and same price, 56,700 gold pieces, and there we go. So that should keep these two happier. What do we have going on here? Let's just pause it while we investigate what's going off. So the Corn to York warehouse is being held up by these 2 trains here, and these are the grain trains that are going to the York warehouse. Let's just quickly rename that line because it's not going all the way across the train isn't going all the way across the north, it's only going as far as York. Right, so what are you waiting for? You're waiting for a full load there. Let's drop that to 3, and then that should get them underway pretty quickly because they've both got more than 3, which will free up the platforms for these trains to pass on through, because we don't want the hold-ups on the corn just for the sake of the grain, of course. Research then, 100 research points. I think at this point I might save for the new locomotive, the Rhine. That's 300 research points, so we can sit on that for a little while longer right now. London, you are still growing. Birmingham, you are also still growing. Manchester, you are still growing. Liverpool and York. How are we doing here? Another 4,000-5,000 or so needed there, so when I said it was 200 and whatever, I was clearly miscounting completely. I think I was counting from 29,588 to 30, not 35, so apologies for that, and if you picked up on that, well done you. I can count, I just can't read numbers correctly apparently. So far so good. Still got sustained growth now across these 3 cities. We do have Carlisle still up to the north here, which we could connect into if we wanted to, but I think we're okay for the time being. Birmingham, Oxford isn't growing, but I'm not too concerned by that at the moment. I'm just wanting to make sure these maintain growth, and we've just seen a bit of expansion there from our competitor. Okay, so, we got a train low on supply. So what we'll do is so they don't hold too much up, we'll give them a supply tower just outside of York, so they can hit that supply tower pretty quickly. I think what we'll also do now, can we get concession into East Anglia? Yes, we can, because we are going to need access to these two industries pretty soon. Before we get access to those, we do want to get the warehouse here at Wensley Terminal, of course, which we'll do not too distant future. I think it's about 120,000, I believe it was, for a warehouse. You're waiting for sugar to go to Birmingham, and that's okay. Rapid expansion at the moment in Liverpool, which is very good. We should now be able to get the warehouse at Wensley Terminal. 126,000, so yes we can. So now we can look at including fruit and vegetables at Wensley Terminal. So let's go to our warehouse. Let's have, well, they have grain here, so we'll take grain. Let's also have vegetables and fruits. Yep. And now we can start planning our lines to get these into the new warehouse. So we'll put a station up here, Edwards train station, and we'll just do a nice simple line. Do we want to come into a new platform here? I think so, that way they're not going to get in the way of our trains to either London or Birmingham. So we'll come in on a third platform, which is going to make it more costly, of course, but it's going to make it that little bit more efficient. So we'll definitely take that option. In the meantime, things continue to progress nicely. Around about 20,000 more citizens left across these 4 cities. We're only focusing on these 3 at the moment, so that's less than 10,000 apiece. Almost up there with the mailbags. Much closer now to this magic 35,000 in Birmingham. London is up to 82,000, so another 40,000 citizens needed here. This will come in time, as will this. So far, so good. Let's now... how much will that cost? 159,000, because we're putting a new platform... In fact, let's not do that. Whoops, clicked the wrong thing. We will want that, because we'll put gridiron, and then platform 4 can be utilised by the trains bringing in the vegetables from East Anglia. So 104,000 here, and again it's just going to be a case of waiting around until we have that money available. Now to 200 research points. As we know, the Rhine is 300, so we don't need to take any action in terms of our research at the moment. It is now just very much a case of sitting and waiting. We can now afford that second stretch of track. Let's give it some gridiron. Get the signals. Let's put a supply tower up this end of the tracks. That will differentiate it from the supply tower that will be used on the trains heading into East Anglia. Another 800, that is the 800 mailbags from Birmingham now taken care of. So let's go to this rail line here, Edwards train station to Wensley Terminal. We'll say 2 there, and let's have you go on to platform 3 at Wensley. Freight only, G&M American, and let's just name this fruit into Wensley warehouse. So we're looking for 56,000 as per for the G&M American. Another task completed. That's Birmingham now at its target population of 35,000. That line has now disappeared, so we need to put that back together. We said 2, did we? I think. Platform 3 at Wensley. The name was Fruit to Wensley Warehouse. G&M American, freight only, and I think 1 train will be enough for now. So that'll start giving fruit down here, which can then, as we said, be shipped into London, and maybe even at this point Birmingham. Let's just have a look. No, not quite, not yet. So the next expansion will be this veg farm down here in East Anglia. So Bradley Rest coming all the way across and into the tracks there. We don't want that overlong bridge, that is ridiculous. 2% and 0%, so yeah, even changing the bridge heights, the gradient isn't too bad. Let's just take that up there to get maximum speed. Yep, perfect. 123,000. So it's going to be there or thereabouts for the return stretch of track as well. Plus 20-odd thousand for the supply tower. And then 56,000 for the locomotive. So this expansion is going to take a little while to bear fruit, but it is going to be a worthwhile expansion. So there's the first stretch of track. Now we'll double it up, and we won't start up a new terminal. We'll have it come in prior to that terminal there. 129,000. I wonder if we can cycle our bonds. Well, we can take a new bond. 806,000. We've got 845. Repay. Yeah, that's better. We can pay for that now. Let's get our track directions set up. We don't need gridiron for this. We do, however, need a supply tower round about there. And then we can get ready for the line from Bradley Rest into Wensley Terminal. 2 there. Platform 4 at Wensley. Freight only. And this is veg into Wensley Warehouse. 56,000. We can now unlock the Rhine as well. So let's go ahead and do that, because that's a gateway to extra technologies. That's that done. Who's missing supplies? Where's your nearest supply tower? We don't have enough money at the moment to give you a shorter one, but I think we will do, just so you're not travelling all that distance on low supply. There we go. We won't bid for that because we cannot afford to. Now, as I said, because London does need both vegetables and fruit, it's very likely that a train now from Wensley Terminal, from the warehouse into London, could start stocking up on primarily fruit and vegetables and not bring any grain in. So I think what we'll do is, because we have this track right here, with only one train running down from Higgins Station, is get ourselves a station here that connects to this grain farm like so, and then connects in to the network like this. That's too tight, is it? Okay, let's just retry that then. Let's go like that, and then have this come in just before the platform with our signals. Have a supply tower there, so that's fine. And then what we can do is set up a grain only line from Armstrong Rest. Let's have you bring a minimum of 4 into London, like so. One train, the G&M American, 56,700, as we well know by now. And then that means this train here, grain from London, like when it does this, for instance, London's not going to suffer due to a lack of grain because it's getting it from a secondary source. What we will do is just quickly rename this now to Fruit Veg to London instead, because that's primarily now what that line should end up transporting. Still got growth in our northern cities, which is great. London is up to 92,000, so we will need university very shortly to get past 100,000, so we can get up to 120,000, of course. It looks like our competitors started to supply grain and logs into London, so that's actually quite beneficial for us, because that's going to help keep that demand satisfaction as high as possible. Looks like we need a few more maintenance depots around the place, so we shall start building those. Another task has been completed, so that's all of the maneuvers tasks now taken care of, so that's great. So let's just pause it here. Okay, so our next set of objectives, advance. By June 1849 we have to buy the small private route between Birmingham and Oxford. We need to achieve an express status on a rail line between Liverpool and Carlisle. And by 1850, December thereof, deliver 4 loads of vegetables into York. Well, I don't think York is actually in need of vegetables right now. Is it at 45,000? No, 40,000 citizens. But what we can do is we can get a line in preparation that will run from Wensley Terminal. Perhaps we'll have a bypass here to cut out Birmingham. Runs up here, connects in and goes into York, and that should give them the vegetables that we need for that task. Let's get another maintenance depot there. Maybe one at Lockhart Terminal as well wouldn't be a bad idea, but I think right now our money... No, in fact, no, we'll focus on getting the maintenance buildings, because the more reliable we can ensure our locomotives are, the greater throughput, the more money we make, and the faster we hit our objectives. So, yeah, a couple more maintenance buildings is not going to be a bad idea. So what train are you? You're grain into Birmingham, okay. How's London doing? Yeah, we're going to need that. We're going to need that university, but I don't know if we can afford it yet. I know we will get some refund from demolishing the library, but I'm not sure if the refund and our current funds are going to be enough to get the university, and we don't want to leave London without a building for too long. So maybe now we'll do it. So not London Euston, London itself. Oh, it's right here. What an idiot. Let's now demolish the library. Construct city buildings, university. Yeah, 180,000. So it should take us long to get there. We're at 144 already. I don't know if we got any refund from the library. Meanwhile, Liverpool has rapid growth. Manchester and York are still experiencing growth. Birmingham is not, but that isn't so much of a problem anymore. London is, which is good, because we've just removed that library, so we've reduced their demand fulfillment by 10%. There's our university. That will help and allow London grow past 100,000 citizens. So what next? Well, we need that express line to Carlisle, but when we got June 1849, well, that should be fairly straightforward. We also need to buy this track here, 400,000, so we can't do that for a while. So I think right now it's just a case of waiting for money to build up, and then we'll get that express line, or try and look to get the express line up to Carlisle. So for that we're going to need, of course, a station up here in Carlisle. So we'll put our station right at the top, out of the way, and then we'll run this line. I imagine the terrain down here isn't going to be very nice. No, it isn't. So we could have some steep inclinations here. Yeah, that's quite steep. 5%. If we set, or try and set, a maximum gradient of 5% as our rule of thumb for this track, I think that should work quite well for us. We don't want a tunnel. Let's raise you up there. That's set you to 7% now, so let's bring that up. 5%, 2%, 50533. Okay. Now we can continue with the track laying. Let's just drop that down. Yeah, that's all still good. We're going to need a track marker there. Oh, that's heavy. We might have to pay for a bridge there, unless we can bring that forward. 4%, that's better. Then we can drop that down a bit to save a little bit of money there. 4%. have this come this way. 5% is still the highest gradient we get to. Hopefully we can get rid of that bridge. And I know we have freight coming down here, but we will just connect into that line there. 7%, 9%. Well, let's go with that, and let's just lift that up. There. 5%, 2%. There we go. Perfect. So without tunnels or bridges, and on that bit of train there, that's quite an achievement. Probably not the best line in the world, but that doesn't matter. It's still going to cost us 173,000 for the privilege, so it's going to be a while unless we can cycle bonds. But I get best earlier. No, we can't. I was trying to say I guess we can't, but I just got my words all sorts of confused. So let's just sit on this for a moment then until we get the money for this. This is going to be an expensive bit of expansion, but it's something that, of course, we do need to do. It's one of our objectives. Well, we can close that and it will keep the track planning stored. So still got growth here. Nothing in Birmingham, but that's okay. London is still in growth, just about 63%. And you're up to 102,000 now. Okay, that's good to see. Liverpool is looking nice. Manchester not too bad. York even better at 39,000. Research. The running cost of maintenance posts is reduced by 5%. Well, we're not running any maintenance posts, so that's not of any use to us right now. Right, now we need to double track this. And of course we can't. Of course we can't. After all that messing about, it won't. Oh, we can, but we'll have to do something like this. Okay, so it's going to be weird, but we can do it. We just can't do it parallel for some reason, unbeknownst to anybody but the game itself. Anyway, let's see how far we can get. It's giving us a tunnel there. Can we get rid of that tunnel? Now we're going to have a tunnel there with the looks of it, unless we go into a single track, but I don't know if I can be bothered with the hassle of all of that. I mean, both those tunnels only come to 9,000, so it's not adding a great deal to the cost of our tracks. The main cost is coming from the tracks itself and the earthworks, so we may as well just keep those tunnels in place. Then we can do the signals, a couple of supply towers, and then an Iron Duke from Liverpool to Carlisle, and hopefully that will secure us the that coveted express status that we're looking for here. So let's close that down. We can keep it safely stored, we know that. So plenty of grain and corn being shipped into Liverpool, a bit into Manchester as well. That's nice to see. Keeping that growth ticking over. Birmingham is in expansion once again. London is back into expansion. And they have a third industry, liquor. So, yep, okay, that takes sugar and fruit. I think we are supplying both of those to London. Let's just double check. Yeah, we have sugar and we have fruit and veg. So that should keep that industry pretty well supplied. So what was it we're looking for? 205,000. Our money's going up a decent rate in right now, so that's good. It means we're not having to wait as long between expansion ventures, which is always a nice thing. Then we're going to need about 40,000 for a couple of supply towers, and I think it's about 80,000 for an Iron Duke locomotive. So we're looking at about 120,000 plus the 200, so we're looking at about 300. Let's call it 325 for the total cost of this expansion. York has grown, so they should now require vegetables. So once we've got this express line set up, we will have to link York into Wensley Terminal. I tried to say Wensleydale and Terminal at the same time. Wensley Terminal into York a little more directly, so they don't have to route through all of this. But we'll come back to that. Right, let's see if we can see how much we can do on this now. In fact, let's just go for one supply tower. They have one there and one there. That should be enough. Liverpool Lime Street to Carlisle. We don't want the G&M American, we want the Iron Duke 94,000. Express only is what we're looking for. Where exactly are you running without signals? You have yeah. It shows signals on the line planning, as in it shows the marching ants, whatever you call it, but it doesn't actually show it. They're not actually on the track. Anyway, let's try that again. We could have got away with it because we're just going to We're going to run one train. There we go. Right, the other thing I said we want to do is see about getting a more direct line from Wensley Terminal, did it again, into York. So we'll do a little bypass there so they don't have to go into Manchester and turn around, so they can get up there, and maybe a bypass here as well, like this. Let's have you come around here, 30 mile an hour, straight through to there. Yeah, let's do something like that, and that'll cut out a whole loop of this. It also means they won't get tied up at Birmingham or potentially at this junction as well. 50,000 is how much we need here. Up to about 40, so it shouldn't take long, hopefully. Up to H8,000 per week, which is pretty good. There we go, that's the first stretch of the track laid down. Now the duplicate track at 58,000, research. We don't have any Royal Industries, but it would unlock that. But we're not really selling many locomotives. I think we'll wait for that to reduce maintenance time by 5%. Anyway, let's build that now. Put the direction signals on this bypass. Maybe give them a supply tower down here as well, like that. And then we want to set up a line from Wensley Terminal to York. You don't want to bring any grain because York gets a supply of grain already. We want you to prioritise vegetables, and let's have you leave with a minimum of 2 wagons. So it might take a couple of trips, but that shouldn't be a problem. And this is fruit and veg up to York. Freight only, G&M American. Away we go. Let's see, how many do you take on your first trip? Your Birmingham. We don't have any veg being brought in at the moment, so that's not ideal. Could we perhaps add a second one onto there, just to get the veg coming in a little bit faster? There we go, that's that express line between Liverpool and Carlisle. Just get rid of that number 1 on our engine shed. What next then? So we've not done it yet, but we've got things ready in place for that. So it's buying this private line, which was, I believe, 400,000 was the cost for that. So hopefully that veg will go there. You will then depart with only 2 carloads, but that's okay because we'll have more available by the time you make your way back. You're taking the bypass, of course. That's good to see. That's what you should be doing. And then you'll head up into York. York's got an extra industry slot, but we're in no position to afford to build the industry ourselves. Right, is there anything else we can take care of pretty quickly and easily? I don't think so. I think we're in a pretty good position right here. So what we'll do, there's 300. Let's get the workshop teams to reduce maintenance time by 5%. Brilliant. Yeah, as I was saying, I think the next thing we'll do is purchase this rail line at 400,000, and then that's underway. Obviously that's fine. 115,000 in London right now and still in growth, so that's good. And then any 2 of these 4 cities will likely be the other cities that we grow to 100,000 to meet this objective here. Can we put a museum in any of these to help that growth? Not yet. It's 50,000 residents we need. So you're waiting. You've had a small breakdown. That's your problem. Well, there's not much we can do about that. You do have a maintenance building there. Yes, you do. We have one in York. Sorry, Manchester. We have one in York. Maybe put one over here. I know this is wasting the money. It's not wasting the money, but it's allocating the funds that we were saving for that rail line elsewhere. But that's not too much of a problem. We should get the money back pretty quick. We have one here. Let's go ahead and put one here as well. Let's get one at Bradley Rest as well. And then, yeah, now we will sit on our funds. Once we accumulate the money, we'll buy this bit of track here. And once we've bought that track out, I think that's where we'll call a close to it for this episode. Another quick look at our task list. You can see that train has arrived with the first 2 loads of vegetables for York, so that's good. London is very close to hitting 120,000 citizens, so that's very good. And we're just under a third of the way to this task as well, which is also very, very good. Our train of fruit and veg is once again on its way to York with 2 carriages, or 2 carts, 2 wagons. So when that gets into York, that will be this objective done. This, we're almost at 400,000, so we're getting close. Look at that, just 105 people needed in London now to get to 120. And everything else is looking good. London is no longer growing, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think it will kick into growth pretty soon, if I'm honest. So I'm not going to get overly concerned by that. We still have plenty of time to achieve that. 1853 is the end date, or the target date, so we've still got plenty of time for London, so it's not a major concern. What is of bigger concern is the fact that York and Liverpool are no longer growing. However... Oh, that's London now at 120,000, so we had a bit of a jump there, so that's good to see. As I was saying, we can put a library now in York to keep that growth stimulated, or give it every possibility to continue growing. 4 loads of vegetables now delivered into York, and I think we can afford to buy this now. 400,000. And we don't really need it, but since we've bought it, let's just demolish it, and that'll at least give us some money back. There we go. Oh, who's this?
I just wanted to take a moment to express our collective thanks for your work. So far,
while he's doing that, we will put that library in York just to keep that growth going as much as possible. We can't do one in Liverpool or Manchester yet though. So that's York now in growth once again, so that's good. And what do we have here? So we need to buy 4 private routes. We've got one of them. Have 80% of travellers take the train from Carlisle to Plymouth. Now that's a journey. From all the way up here, down into Plymouth. We'll handle that in the next episode. That's far too much to take on today. And 4 loads of liquor into London. Now that might be a problem, because London's got a distillery. So they might just self-supply. So we might have to buy that and get rid of it. That's a little unfortunate. Yeah. Oh well, we'll see what we have to do about that. So other than that, everything else is looking good. Manchester is growing. York is growing once again thanks to the library. Liverpool is not, but as soon as it gets to 50, we'll give them a library as well. Everything else is looking pretty good. So I think that's where we'll end things today. and we'll have a ride on this train. We'll go into Liverpool and then we'll take the journey back into Carlisle, but first of course I'll just save it, so when we come back for part 4 we're in October of 1846. Okay, so that's the game saved. Let's hop on board this train. There we go. Just get the camera position, get out of the way, we're express. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode, making I think pretty good progress so far. London might be a problem because of that distillery that they've produced, so we might have to buy that and demolish it and replace it with something else, which is going to be very, very costly, but we shall see. As always, a very special thank you to those of you who have pledged over on Patreon. Your support is absolutely fantastic, and there's a link to my Patreon page in the description of the video should anyone wish to check that out. But for now, all that remains for me to say is, as always, ladies and gentlemen, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.